much like Heroes in Crisis, reminds me just how far he falls short of Alan Moore while he tries to create in his wheelhouse. Here, he comes off as a fourth-rate Chuck Dixon. Batman issue 70 is the first since the Knightmare story arc that ground this series to a halt. Saying I'm excited moving on undersells just how much I loathe Knightmares and its array of terrible characterization and pointless plots. The good news is, Batman 70 is orders of magnitude better than 68, the low point of the series post-wedding. The bad news is, that's an extremely low bar, and issue 70 still isn't very good. The art is terrific, if uneven. The writing is filled with many of Tom King's worst tendencies, and the plot moves the story forward about 250 feet. Still, it's nice to move on from Knightmares, and the tripe it brought with it. Like issue 69, featuring beautifully illustrated drivel, like Batman and Catwoman dancing their way through Bruce's conscience, coming to grips with the non-wedding. Thankfully, there are zero mentions of Catwoman or a certain nuptial that never happened. Hopefully, King keeps Batman this way for the foreseeable future. And who knows, with some improvement, the series might even be good again. I will note Brittany Holzer is replaced by Rob Levin as associate editor this issue. I imagine that partly explains the increase in story quality. Might as well start with the good and talk about the art, which is split between Michael Janin and Jorge Fornes. The issue opens with Batman finally escaping his nightmare chamber in the gallows of Arkham Asylum. This is a very cool image and sets a great tone for the issue. Michael Janin has such a smooth line style, it's seamless and undeniably him. This kind of causes a problem with the issue. His style and Fornes' style aren't exactly similar and give the art an uneven feel. It's not as bad as Amanda Conner and Dan Panosian, but it's still jarring. Not that Jorge Fornes' art doesn't belong here. His heavy line art and shadowing are very moody and fit Batman to a T. DC should have settled on one artist this issue or chose artists that would flow smoother together. But this is cool and a very welcome change from a lot of the artwork of the previous 7 issues. And it's great to see some actual meaningful action in a Batman book. And everyone is fully clothed, so that was a huge leap forward from issue 69. That shit had me considering going never nude, for real. If you're unaware, this issue features Batman running the gauntlet of classic villains and... I'll get into it in a bit. But the art is not the problem. Even though the style should have married better, I do like the sound effect with the tooth flying in it. That's a nice bit of extra flavor that makes the issue feel even more brutal. Jordi Belaire's colors look great with both artists, and he does his best to make it consistent. The art is the hero of Batman issue 70. I'd rate it 3.5 out of 5. It's really too bad King wastes quality art like this. He leans on most of his writing tropes to weigh the issue down considerably. Another Batman book begins with poetry, and ends with it, but we'll get to that. This week in Pretentious Tom King features William Blake's The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. I get it. Tom really wants me to know how deep he is. So he fills his comic books with classic literature and prose. If we all acknowledge King is a well-read fellow, will he stop leaning on these tiresome, boring, repetitive, self-indulgent, monotonous writing trope? It means nothing at this point. It's just a page of words to skip. It's so overused, it's entered X-Men time travel at this point. If Tom King wants these pages to be impactful, he only needs to talk to his contemporary on Green Lantern. This week, Grant Morrison uses lyrical prose during his entire issue. It's not grating or boring. It's interesting. Why, you ask? Because it's the first time he used it during the entire series. The reader knows it's important, and it makes the story feel more personal. And don't even get me started on Leon Sharp's art on that book. That man is on another level right now. But this is a Batman review, so back to the issue at hand. If King were judicious with his use of poetry and prose, it would be impactful. He's oversaturated this series, and they've lost all meaning. Even though they tie directly into the story and its themes. This is 100% on King and his editors. Sometimes, less is more. Batman pounds his way out of Arkham Asylum like a madman, and only two of the villains even speak to him. Could some of these characters have been waiting for Batman to free them from Bane's control? We know he controls the asylum with an iron fist. Tom probably should have done a bit more to establish their threats. Also, he appears to be one-punching Hush and Man-Bat. Wasn't Hush thrown into another dimension during the lead-up to King's own wedding issue? When the hell did he return? Man-Bat is currently a member of Justice League Dark. How many different continuities am I currently reading in DC Comics? Of course, what would a Tom King book be without his now frustrating overuse of another pretentious staple, the 9-panel layout? We learn Bane is orchestrating the gauntlet Batman is running on his way out of Arkham. Sounds like it's all playing into his diabolical and certain to be far too dense and complicated to make any sense plan. I guess the ventriloquist will be playing a big role moving forward. King continues to rely far too heavily on tropes rather than strong storytelling, and parts of this issue don't make sense in continuity. I rate the characterization a 1.5 out of 5. Tom made a huge error in his plot choice this story. Let's rip it a new one, shall we? This issue is basically a very overpowered Batman walking through a who's who of his rogues gallery with shocking ease. Bane has driven him to complete mania. Any of this sound familiar? It's the reverse of Bane's journey in I Am Bane, which was the reverse of Batman's journey in Nightfall. Get it? Bane and Batman are the antithesis of each other. Get it? King is so self-congratulatory, he doesn't even realize he's exposing himself as a lesser talent. Much like Heroes in Crisis, reminds me just how far he falls short of Alan Moore while he tries to create in his wheelhouse. Here, he comes off as a fourth-rate Chuck Dixon. The entire time, Batman monologues about how he's Batman, and one-punches established big bads. He even lays the smackdown on Solomon Grundy and Amygdala at the same time, barehanded, and comes away unscathed. I understand Batman is supposed to be furious, but this seems a bit much. I don't know, maybe they're both just lightweights. Batman then confronts Dr. Freeze and proceeds to mock and slaps the piss out of him. Bane set up Batman to beat Freeze nearly to death in King's own storyline. Should Batman really be pummeling him again? He's probably still suffering from a traumatic brain injury or PTSD after the beating Bats laid on him. I understand he's unhinged, but there's nothing heroic here. Freeze is clearly scared to death of the Dark Knight and can't even speak in his presence. Maybe I expect too much restraint and altruism from my heroes. The last villain Batman squares off with is Two-Face, and the dialogue is actually pretty good. Batman needs Two-Face to let Bane know he's heading home to rest up and he'll be back for him tomorrow. Something tells me Bane is probably going to beat him to the punch. Something awful is likely awaiting Bruce in the manor, driving him even madder. The issue ends with the same unfamiliar character reciting passages from Dante's Inferno. Batman is about to traverse hell to find Bane. Get it? Tom King is so deep up his own ass, he's surviving off his own fumes at this point. Yeah, we all get it, Tom. Little do you know, your readers aren't nearly as dense as you like to think. You aren't clever, and this plot really sucks. I rate it 1 out of 5. A major leap forward from Knightmares, if that tells you what I think about that entire arc. I know Tom King has a lot of supporters of his Batman series. I don't understand it at all. A vast majority of this series, especially post-wedding, is absolute tripe. But it's not unanimous. The series dropped under 100,000 issues shipped a while ago, and under 90,000 recently. This issue probably reads well to a lot of regulars because of how putrid Knightmares really was. In the end, this issue advanced the story about 250 feet from the gallows of Arkham Asylum to its front door. The art is once again the saving grace. I rate Batman 70 a 2 out of 5 overall. This is another skippable issue. The overall plot doesn't really advance and is a retread of a story done much better by Bane's creator Chuck Dixon. It is miles better than what we've been receiving, but Batman and Tom King still have a ways to go before this series is good again. I can see it improving as the story heats up, but King is notorious at finishing even his best stories poorly. I have serious doubts he will finish this one on a high note, and a lot of regulars will wish they jumped off at issue 50 like most sane readers did. But the good news is, Batman is getting better. If you want a more positive comic review, join Sergeant Bats and myself tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to talk Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Hopefully there will be a couple more guests, but we'll see. I also want to discuss Fallen World, my most anticipated comic series in quite some time. Hope to see you there, live and unfiltered. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.